Have you noticed how some people seem to have a different energy, almost as if they knew about things that we can't even imagine? And look, not always these people are what we call common people. Today, we are going to talk about something that many people don't even realize. These people who are highly spiritual. Sometimes they are not as peaceful as they seem, and I'll tell you, this can be very dangerous. But before we dive into this fascinating subject, leave your like down here, because you won't want to miss what comes next, and it still helps the channel a lot to continue bringing content like this. Come on! When we think of spirituality, the first image that comes to mind is that of someone calm, serene, at peace with the universe. But is it always like this? The truth can be a little more complex. In fact, there are highly spiritual people who carry such an intense inner strength that it can be a little scary. I'm not talking about physical danger, but something much more subtle, something that moves the mind and soul of those around. These people have a power that goes beyond meditation or positive affirmations. It is as if they had a deep connection with the universe and with the truths that few of us see. And that's where things get interesting, because underestimating these people can be a costly mistake, and you will understand why. Now imagine being in front of a person who seems to see through you. It's not magic, it's not some mystical power, but an almost supernatural perception that has been cultivated over the years of self-reflection and spiritual practices. These highly spiritual people develop an ability that seems to be invisible to most of us. They can see what is behind the words, the actions, and even the deepest intentions. It's as if they had a special lens that allows them to detect everything we try to hide, our insecurities, our fears, and even our little lies. They become almost like human lie detectors, identifying precisely when someone is being insincere or manipulative. This makes them formidable adversaries in any type of social or professional interaction. The most interesting thing is that this ability doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from a combination of sharp observation and refined intuition, which is the result of years of meditation and self-knowledge. Imagine being in a negotiation with someone like this. Even before you speak, this person already knows what the next step will be, already understood what you really want. And that's where the danger is. While many try to deceive, they are already several steps ahead, even perceiving the most hidden motivations. This makes these people difficult to manipulate, and for those who try, the frustration is inevitable. The power to see beyond the obvious turns these people into an almost disconcerting presence. And many times, this ends up revealing truths about ourselves that we are not yet ready to face. Now, if there is something that makes these spiritual people even more impressive, it is the unwavering conviction they carry. Think about the last time you were absolutely sure of something. Multiply this certainty by 1,000 and apply it to every aspect of life. This is how many of these people live. Their beliefs forged over years of personal experiences and deep moments of introspection are not easily shaken. They are not guided by simple opinions or axioms, but by a rooted feeling that their worldviews are firmly connected to something greater. This makes them stay firm, even when everything around them seems to question their vision. Their conviction does not falter. This certainty can be intimidating, especially in debates or discussions. They do not need to raise their voices or resort to emotional arguments to prove a point. On the contrary, their calm and unwavering certainty disarm the opponent right away. No matter how much you try to present contrary arguments, these spiritual people remain undisturbed. In addition, this conviction often goes beyond simple beliefs. It becomes a life mission. They feel called to act based on their truths, defying norms and systems if necessary, and that is where the true power resides. When a person, armed with such firm convictions, decides to fight for a cause, it becomes an impossible force to ignore. The emotional resilience of these spiritual people is something that challenges the understanding of many. While most of us are overwhelmed by the ups and downs of life, these people seem to go through difficult situations with an almost supernatural calm. This does not mean that they do not feel pain or sadness, but rather that they have an incredible ability to manage these emotions without being consumed by them. The basis of this resilience lies in the profound understanding that everything is part of a greater purpose, a cosmic order that goes beyond immediate circumstances. When something goes wrong, instead of getting desperate, they see it as an opportunity for growth, as a test for their faith and inner strength. And this emotional resilience is what makes them almost unbeatable in situations of pressure. Imagine being in a conflict, in a negotiation, or even in a moment of crisis. While everyone around is on the brink of collapse, the spiritual person maintains serenity. This can be profoundly destabilizing for those who expect a stronger emotional reaction. They are not easily provoked, they do not make hasty decisions, and most importantly, they do not let themselves be carried away by passive feelings. This ability to keep their minds clear, even in the most challenging moments, gives them a huge advantage in practically any situation. And of course, this makes them even more difficult to defeat, because where many would give up, they persist with a tranquility that is, at the same time, admirable and intimidating. The intuition of these spiritual people is something almost mystical, as if they had a direct connection with a source of wisdom beyond common understanding. For many of them, intuition is not just a palpitation, but a refined tool that has been refined over years of meditation, self-reflection, and spiritual practices. This sensitivity allows them to perceive patterns and signs that most of us would let go unnoticed. It is as if they capture almost instantly what is to come, or what is happening behind the scenes of a situation. This can be so precise that for those who are outside, it seems that they are foreseeing the future. This sharp intuition not only helps them to make decisions that at first glance may seem risky or illogical, but that in the end up proving to be correct. In situations of competition or conflict, this ability gives them an advantage that many cannot keep up. They are able to read people and environments as if they had an invisible manual, understanding hidden motivations and disguised intentions. And not only that, this intuition also guides them to act decisively without hesitation, fully trusting this inner knowledge, which can be at the same time inspiring and disturbing to those around them. After all, when someone acts with this trust, based on something that not everyone can see, unpredictability makes this person even more powerful and difficult to understand. While many of us spend much of our lives running after money, status, and material possessions, highly spiritual people seem to live in a separate universe where these things simply do not matter. For them, the real value of life is in something much deeper, something that cannot be measured in goods or in bank balance. This detachment from material concerns makes them incredibly different and, in many cases, extremely difficult to deal with in contexts where the game of power depends on wealth or social influence. They simply do not bend to the pressures that involve the search for mundane things, which can completely destructure the traditional dynamics of negotiation or power. Imagine being in a dispute with someone who does not care about the financial result or prestige. They can easily give up material gains, because for them, the true value is in their connection with the spiritual. This gives these people a freedom and strength that many of us fail to understand. The idea of losing something material simply does not affect them, and this makes them immune to threats or manipulations involving money or status. This lack of attachment can be so destabilizing that for those who depend on these artifacts, it becomes almost impossible to deal with them. They play a completely different game, where the currency of exchange is spiritual growth, inner truth, and peace of mind. Values that, in the end, surpass any material wealth. The power of influence that these highly spiritual people exert on others is almost magical. They do not need to raise their voices or impose their opinions in a forced way. Their simple presence is enough to cause a profound impact on the people around them. It is as if they emanate a calm and conviction so powerful that others, naturally, end up being drawn to this energy. And this influence is not only about what people do, but also about how they feel. The serenity that these people bring can completely change the atmosphere of a room, calming turbulent situations and guiding others to a state of deeper reflection. In addition, this ability to influence goes beyond emotions. It also affects beliefs and even people's behavior. When someone with such a strong spirituality speaks, their words carry a different weight. They can translate complex, deep and spiritual concepts in a way that seems simple and accessible, connecting people to a greater understanding. This makes them seen as natural leaders, even in non-religious contexts. But here is the danger. This influence can, in some circumstances, get out of control, leading to a kind of blind followerism. In extreme cases, dynamics similar to cults can form, where people are so impacted by the strength of this spiritual presence that they end up following without questioning, which can open doors for unpredictable manipulation and consequences. The ability to transcend fear is perhaps one of the most impressive characteristics of these highly spiritual people. For most of us, fear is a force that paralyzes us, that makes us hesitate before making big decisions or facing challenging situations. But for these people, fear assumes a completely different form. They face it as part of the human experience, something that can be understood and, above all, overcome. Through their spiritual practices and a deep connection with something greater, these people develop a kind of relationship with fear that goes beyond the common. They are not exactly fearless, but they know how to deal with fear in a way that makes it practically harmless. This becomes even more evident in crisis situations. While many are taken by anxiety and panic, these spiritual people remain calm, as if they were seeing a reality that others cannot see. They make clear decisions without hesitation, and often even assume leadership roles in moments of great tension. This almost alarming tranquility also extends to the fear of death. For them, death is not the end, but a transition, a natural part of the spiritual journey. And this vision makes them even more daring because they do not fear what is to come. This ability to transcend fear makes them truly powerful and, in a way, unpredictable. When someone acts without being controlled by fear, they become free to do things that others would never dare to try.